Hello, good evening. Welcome to Talkin Kop. It's me, Chris Brack. I'm here with my two mates, Kev and Ashley. And it has finished Liverpool 1, PSV 4 in a pretty deflating, sad, shambolic Liverpool performance. Ash, I'll come to you. There's no way of putting this. That was worse than Forest. And I've got to be honest, especially that second half, and I didn't think Forest could get much worse.
I mean, it can always get worse, and I guess that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, we need that gift, don't we, of McCarthy? It can, and it
yeah,
will.
it can.
That might have to be a T-shirt for Liverpool soon.
I mean, that's kind of our theme for the entire season. I think that this signals the beginning of the end for Slot. I think that we have all done our damnedest to come up with a series of reasons or kind of backstories, or call them excuses if you want. We've tried to explain some of these performances away. We've tried to give him time to rectify the situation. We've tried to allow him the opportunity to maybe make some tweaks or maybe change the personnel. And this, for me, was it was the final straw. I don't know how to put it any other way. This felt like the final straw where I no longer have faith in what's happening behind the scenes. I no longer have faith in the direction of travel. And I'm incredibly sad about that, because I love Slot. I've bonded with him. I think that he did so much for this club last year. He's exactly what we needed in that transition from Klopp, but maybe that's all he's meant to be, is a transition manager. Maybe he was meant to just have that 1 year, and maybe it really is too big of a job for him. I don't know. I don't know why it suddenly feels like he's in over his head, because last year we looked at him, we saw these tactical masterclasses, and I've never seen such kind of a flip in any manager, really. I can't remember a single manager going from, wow, like what a masterclass, to, wow, what the actual F is happening here? Like, where did it all go? It's like he went to Ibiza and his brain got, taken by one of those, can girls in the white dresses. I have no idea what has happened to our team, to our coach, to our club. And I'm just sad. Like, I'm watching them and I'm sad. I don't have any faith or belief in them going anywhere. And that to me signals the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I mean, Kev, obviously we're in a WhatsApp group, us three and Mr. Dylan O'Rourke. 1-0. We were all a bit concerned. At 2-1, it felt like Forest. We all just went, they'll get back into this. And it gets to a point now where it's almost like apathy. And it just seemed odd tactically that it's gone this way. As in, look, we can talk about the changes. We could talk about the opening 11 games was a particularly challenging run. But we all said from November onwards, on paper, that's your time now to get a run. You've had a good time with the new players. You should have a way of getting these players into it. Everyone looks like a square peg in a round hole. I think the word I used to you guys was they look petrified. They look absolutely petrified of any sort of mistake, and they just didn't know which way to look. And worryingly, our big leaders were found wanting tonight, starting with the captain, unfortunately.
We fucking did start with the captain, didn't it?
That was mind-boggling.
Well, Richard Howell with a super chat. Cheers, Richard. Big Ange, next Liverpool manager. Yeah.
I mean, listen.
I would honestly rather give it to Jay Spearing than have.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd continue the trend,
and I don't even mean that facetiously.
Yeah, I mean, we continue the trend. We continue the trend of lots of goals, wouldn't we?
Richard, we've seen this before we come on, and we all had.
It did make us laugh.
It did make us laugh.
I've got to be honest.
Thanks for that, man. Thanks for that. Look, he made two changes. One enforced from the same side who lost to Nottingham Forest, and we got hammered in the second half. We got hammered. Yeah. And the mistakes are, like we said beforehand, it's the same goals. It's the same. It's individual errors that are absolute downfall, and it's not complicated stuff. It really fucking isn't. It's like, I mean, the second goal, Kirk is caught wrong side. should have been screaming at Van Dijk that he's got a man on his shoulder. Maro Jr. had all the time in the world to play that pass. It was only going one place. It was always going along the ground. Everyone could see it. Everyone sat at home. Everyone in the chat could see where that pass was going. And nobody on the saw it.
I mean,
read it.
For balance for that goal, that's the goal that for the last 3 years we've lambasted Brent.
Yeah, I'm not giving Kirk as an out on it. It's his fault. He was caught ball. He was caught ball watching. Till made the run inside him, and he was never getting. Once Till got the run on him, he was never getting back. So it's his fault. It's on him. But at the same time, there was no pressure on the ball, and the centre backs just didn't see the pass, and that ball travelled a long fucking way. So it's frustrating, but the lineups come out, and I'm like, okay, he's told them, you got us into this mess with that shit show against Forest. It's up to you to get us out of it. 2 minutes in, and Virgil's playing fucking basketball. He thinks he's a center. He thinks he's a center for the New York Knicks.
I don't know what he's complaining about.
What happened?
He's trying to claim it's a push. The way you've handballed it, that's not a natural way to have your hand.
No.
It's the most obvious handball.
And I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. It's not like he gets manipulated into having his arm up like that.
I can understand it. If someone is two-handed into his back while he's in the air and he throws his arm up, I understand that. That didn't fucking happen.
No.
You know what I mean? It's a penalty all day, every day, twice on Sunday. And there you are. What was it? 5 minutes in?
Yeah.
And you're 1-0 down again.
But in the first 15 minutes, we couldn't
It was 3 minutes in.
3 minutes
first 15
3 minutes in, and he's the one that's supposed to be leading us all and kind of keeping the morale up and getting this team off on the right foot. And he literally does the opposite.
I'll give credit to Dylan because he put it in our chat. He said that Van Dijk handball had shades of the Gerrard miss for Hodgson. As in, like, that was the one, the miss or the loss that broke the camel's back and then went. Yeah, like I always think Rodgers' moment was Stoke, and he actually somehow survived another 3 or 4 months. But he basically should have got after when he got beat 6-1 by Stoke, and he kind of knew that was coming. Klopp was different because he left on his own terms. It's very rare managers get to do that. I mean, I think we all did the watch along. We felt Forest was probably the moment because you have fans walking out with 15 minutes to go, which it's never a good sign when you got a good chunk of the fans walking out. As soon as it went 2-1, you were just going, nothing's going to happen here. And even when
I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't agree. You said that earlier on as well. Unlike Forest, we were creating chances. Unlike the Forest game, even right the way through the second half, we were creating chances. We were forcing their keeper to make saves. The Forest game, when we went 1 down, I thought, that's it. We looked like creating the sweet sum of fuck all. Matt Sells will never go to Anfield and have an easier game in his life than he had last Saturday. Never. Because it won't be fucking tolerated. And it shouldn't be tolerated now. Tonight, at least, we worked a keeper. Yeah, missed some glaring fucking chances. Cody Gakpo missed a couple of absolute sitters.
And that has been a trend in these defeats we've been having.
Yeah. And he's not alone.
No,
so I'm not hanging him out to dry. There's plenty of fucking rope I've got to hang people out with. But at the end of the day, I always felt, even when we conceded, the way they pressed us in for the first 15 minutes was a side who were playing the same 11, 6 games on the bounce, who'd only lost 1 game all season, who were supremely confident and trust absolutely in what their mate next to him and behind them is absolutely doing. And you could tell a mile off in how they were pressing. They were pressing us with 6 players. So take their keeper out of S7. That left 4 players to mark the space in behind. And you do that when you're supremely confident. And they did. They pinned us in for 15 minutes. After that, for the rest of the half, we pretty much fucking completely bossed it. We scored. We got back into it. And we had enough chances to get at least 1 up towards the second. And I finished the end of the first half, and I was like, yeah, that's not bad. That's fine. Considering where we were coming from, on the back of where we were against Forest, on the back of that first 15 minutes, the way we recovered, scored a goal, got back into it, I thought, okay, fair enough. You get into halftime, you're 1-1, build on that. And I was okay. I was fine at halftime. You get back into it. You go in at halftime and you come back out and you expect to see a reaction and kick on. And by fuck. What did he say to him at halftime? Because they went into Peter Boss went in at halftime and gave a rocket up PSV Eindhoven's arse. Told him to get back to basics, be more direct, and take people on 1v1s. And they came out and they did what they were asked to do. What the fuck was Arne Slot telling them at halftime to do?
I don't think he knows. And I don't think the players know.
I think that has been the criticism probably. We think of Brentford when we got ourselves, fortunately, to 1-1. You think, yeah, but you need to change it because it isn't going quite right. Didn't change anything at halftime against Forest. Didn't do much against City. And then tonight, what I couldn't get was from 15 to halftime. Kev's right, we did react well. We got the goal back. You kind of wanted them to go in the lead at halftime. I thought, okay, but they've weathered a shitty 15 minutes. You've got the template now of how to hurt them. We penned them in, pressed them. And second half, it was just like Liverpool went, right, let's go back to being passive, sit back. And I kind of felt you left PSV off the hook. And once they got confident again, they knew how to pick it apart. And listen,
I'll give all the credit in the world to PSV.
Oh, yeah.
They changed their tactics at halftime. They went direct. They went direct at halftime. For the entirety of the first half, they played out from the back.
Yeah.
And look, that's their game plan. That's what they do week in, week out. That's all they do. I watched a lot of highlights of PSV in the preview for last night's show. It's their mantra. They always play out from the back. I listened to a PSV podcast. That's how they play. They went direct, and we never adjusted to it. And they targeted down Konate's side mainly because of Jones, and they got success from it. And they built from the halfway line, and we never adjusted to it. And when we did try to react to it, we left ourselves so open for the counters that we ended up gifting them the second goal because of sloppy play. And from there on in, I want to hear what he has to say after this, but I want to hear what he says in 24 hours time when, the emotions are out of it and you can really reassess it, because at the minute it's so fucking raw.
I'm not sure what he can. I think we're kind of at that point where, well, for me, we're kind of at that point where it doesn't really matter what a player or the manager says. It's kind of fallen on deaf ears because there's been lots of talk. Virgil's gone up and done lots of post-match interviews, kind of said the same thing. No. But you're all like, I put it back to, it's a bit like the Man United stuff. It's like,
listen,
I don't want to hear the excuse. I don't want to hear the reason.
Show
it on the pitch, and we're not seeing any of it on the pitch.
That's another thing. Virgil comes out in the week, and he does himself, and I think Robertson comes out and does interviews, and they say all the right things: collective responsibility, individuals taking responsibility for their own actions, and then he goes and puts in arguably one of the worst nights football I've seen him put in a Liverpool shirt.
Oh, it's horrendous.
Complete brain farts. How many times have you seen Virgil van Dijk go into ground in a nonsense area of the pitch for no reason? Yeah. And he got a yellow card for, and it wasn't the case that he was bad positionally for it, because he could have just tracked the run. It was just his head's gone.
His head's gone.
His head went. And the penalty I'll never understand in the month of Sundays. The tackle for his yellow card, and he's lucky really that he never got a booking for the handball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he'd have been off. And the other thing, the crazy thing, and it's you two. You two have the thing with the corners and the set pieces. I watched them against Napoli. They're poor. Defensively, at corners, they're poor. They're physically not a very big side. And the amount of headers we won from our own corners, and we couldn't get... I think there was two that we had really good chances. Virgil was unlucky with one. He comes across and almost tries to float across a header back, and it hits the crossbar. But Szoboszlai is one of the best deliveries of a ball on the pitch. And he puts pace on the ball. All they have to do is connect with it. And I don't think he took one. He's got Cody Gakpo taking corners. And in the second half, he was taking corners with a fucking sand wedge. They were lofted that fucking high. I thought Gav took a club over and said, "Here, Cody, try that one."
Oh, I feel for Paul Gav. Paul Gav's gone to that today.
Yeah, I know.
I feel for Lexi and Gav. They're just not a good game to go to.
But it's like Salah's taking them from the other side. They know the area that the ball is going to be at when Salah delivers. They know where he's going to drop the ball, and they don't attack the fucking space. And the worst of it is, I was listening to something earlier on, and it was only a clip. It was a reel or something. And I don't know who said it, but they were talking about the set piece coach that we brought in.
We did not bring a set piece coach in.
Okay, but the guy who's
I'm not yelling at you. This is like something that comes up over and over and over again. We did not bring a set piece coach in. We brought in an analyst from Southampton to help Aaron Briggs, who was promoted from within the club. He's not a set piece coach. He was there to replace Vitor Matos as like a player manager. Well, and they didn't have anyone to do set pieces. So they basically just used him as a stopgap. And then they gave him the job.
It's worse because it was Josh Williams, actually. And he made a point. He was standing behind the dugout for the last game. And he'd never noticed it before. But during set pieces, Arne Slot sits down. And the set piece coach comes up onto the sideline and he runs it. He is responsible for the set pieces. Arne Slot isn't responsible for working on the set pieces. And that was what he was saying. And I'm sat there like, the way the Premier League has gone, it's one of the most important. And I'd love to, if someone in the chat can get FootMob up and find out how many corners that we had tonight. It felt like it was double digits.
Oh, I'm sure.
Each one of them is an opportunity to score a goal. And we come up blank again. We're shooting ourselves in the foot with the amount of stupidity that we're doing with giving the ball away in stupid areas, conceding stupid goals. We're not fucking helping ourselves by getting the deliveries right for set pieces.
We had 11 corners.
You're at home. The dimensions of the pitch are the fucking same. You play there every 2 weeks. You know how far you have to kick the ball to put it onto the penalty spot, or put it onto the front post, or put it onto the back post. It's not beyond the realms of science to be able to work out who runs where and who does what. Maro Jr. was marking Virgil van Dijk. He's 5'7". He looks up.
Chris, I think that Kev has finally come to our side to understand our corner thing.
But he looks up at McAllister, and he's marking Virgil van Dijk, and you can't pick him out.
Yeah, but I mean, we've seen this season now.
Because I just
we've seen the season now. Important set pieces are as much it grinds my gears. This thing with they all zoom in on the set piece coach. You know, when they score. I mean, I'm like, I don't care about.
Are we so proud though that we can't acknowledge that that's a thing? Like, so one of the things that we have talked about, and that a lot of people have talked about, is Liverpool going in the wrong direction. Like Liverpool building for a team that isn't really up to where the Premier League is. And like, I don't like the fact that the Premier League has turned into, you know, this version that Arsenal has created where set pieces are a thing, but that's where we are. And I don't think that we have the luxury of being so proud that we're like, oh, well, we don't need a set piece coach, or we won't do long throws. It's like, I'll take anything at this point that'll get us points on the board. I don't really care because we are so fucking poor. Like, I'm not too proud to say that we can only score with beautiful goals. We're not scoring with beautiful goals. So let's try something else. Like, if we have 11 corners, that's 11 opportunities to put the ball in the net. And clearly we could improve there. So, you know, if you want to do something right away, get an elite set piece coach in. I don't care. Go steal the Arsenal guy or go steal the Newcastle guy. I don't really care. I know we make fun of them, but they're effective and we need something that's effective right now. I'm not too proud to say that. I know we make fun of them, but at least they're doing something, which is more than I can say for everyone that's on that bench. Because if you looked at the assistant coaches on our bench, they were
Johnny makes a great point there, actually.
Absolutely
yeah, we talked about that. We had a throwing coach, but everyone mocked us, but it worked.
You know what? We had a throwing coach. We had like a surfer come in and talk about mentality. You can't be below these things. You have to use everything from everywhere. And like, it is small margins, and we need to use those small margins and get creative and think outside of the box, because right now all I'm seeing is the same stupid tactics being tried again and again and again and again. And I've said it before, how many times do we need to slam our heads against the wall? Because that's what it feels like watching this team right now. It feels like I'm slamming my head against a wall. And I'm getting to the point where like the spirit is just being sucked out of me watching this team, which is something that I haven't felt that in years, like almost a decade of watching Liverpool.
But I mean, Kev, I think we all said in our WhatsApp group, and we've basically said the manager's decisions to stick with certain players, he's basically he's going to get himself the sack. Because, listen, Canate has not had a good season.
No.
But even when he had an option of Gomez earlier in the season, maybe not now because he's apparently having an injection in his knee, never took about the limelight or the firing line. But he always takes him off with 25 minutes to go. So kind of embarrasses the lad, which doesn't really help. But, McAllister hasn't been in good form, but then he still picks him in games when he's had other midfield options. If we're honest, both wide lads aren't doing it.
Nope.
And we've also got a £125 million footballer who could not be arse running. He just did not want to run. He did not want to move. And then he just kept meandering out wide left when you're 3-1 down going, I kind of could do if you get in the box now. I'm trying to get a shot off. Ekatike going off was a big blow because I think only him and Szoboszlai, the only two I can think of, could hold the head up and go, run the bollocks off a little bit and actually tried.
The only thing I've seen in the chat so far was Emma put a comment in saying that Ekatike is injured.
So apparently he felt his back. And Slot has come out and said that his quote is, I constantly felt in the second half, what's wrong with Hugo? It felt like he couldn't move like he did in the first half. That's why our press was a bit off. He just told me in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first half, he felt his back too much, and that's why he had to go out.
Okay. As someone who suffers with a bad back, I'm amazed he was able to move at all. So, look, if it's just a twinge in his back, hopefully he'll be fine. My biggest worry was I honestly thought he went and grabbed his shin or his hamstring.
The hamstring would have been, we would have been. We're in big trouble already.
Yeah, we're in trouble now.
This idea that it can't get worse, it definitely can.
And the crazy thing is, there's a couple of players tonight that I think did okay. And better than okay. I thought Szoboszlai was good.
Szoboszlai's been our standout player the entire season.
He is.
And the irony is he's the player that Slot wanted to drop from this team.
Yeah, he's the one who come in. And you know what? That kind of proves the point of having proper competition for players.
Absolutely.
Because, he brings in Florian Wirtz and he ups his game. And he puts himself into that category now of it's my shirt, come and get it if you want it. And at the end, I thought he had some good shots. He worked the keeper. Positionally, he was always an option. Some of his passing was a bit
He looked like he was playing in a different league compared to the rest of the players on our team.
His energy was good. I thought Hugo was good in patches. He was good in flashes. Got some good chance. He worked.
He was easy to find, wasn't he? He was easier to find than the 125 million striker who doesn't move.
Chris, he was easy to find because he drops off. He drops off, and that's why he's easy to find. Isak doesn't drop off, and he's not that player. Isak requires service. Did we put any crosses in for him? Cody put a couple in. Mo Salah was a fucking atrocious. And his namesake, that left back, the one who's on loan from Roma, embarrassed the living daylights out of him. He couldn't beat him for pace. He couldn't get in and around him. He couldn't pass around him. He couldn't do fuck all. And when he did try to put some crosses in, he tried to put him with the outside of his left foot, and he either hit him too weak so the keeper could get it. He never once tried to chop back onto his left foot and put a whip across in. Never happened. The only thing that he did do was use Curtis Jones as an option to move the ball around to the other side. But even Jones, and the frustrating thing with Jones playing in that position from an attacking sense is that he can kick the ball, roll the ball up with his studs, and whip across in from deeper on the right. And he fucking didn't. And we know he has that in his locker because we've seen him do it a lot. Why the fuck aren't they telling their wide players to put decent service into the box for forwards that are getting in there? Because the amount of times that Ekitike was in the box, supported by Szoboszlai, supported by McAllister. And you're banging your head against a brick wall because you bought these players, you have to give them service. And when they don't get service, you can't turn around and say, well, what are they doing? You have to fucking supply them with something. Isak is a player who runs in, he's a player who needs a ball in behind and something to chase. You saw him in the second half when he came on. He took the fullback, knocked the ball past him, and went past him. Looked into the box, and not one midfielder decided, he's out there, I better get into the box. There was no one in there, so he had to come back to Kirkes. I don't know what they're fucking doing. And the crazy thing, I don't think Arne Slot knows what they're doing.
I think that's
and that's it in a nutshell. I hate to see the long go by. I want if you're gonna get rid of him now. If the board and the club
don't drag him through the mud.
Not a case of even don't drag him through the mud. Give the new guy a chance to come in for a month, see what he's got to work with, and see what he needs.
Buy smart.
See what they need in January, because there's nothing worse than football for me. Is any club that does this, they'll go through a transfer window, and then the 1st or 2nd and 3rd of February they sack the manager.
What's the point?
Yeah, and how many times have you seen it where a club will go through a rocky Christmas, a rocky January, they get knocked out of the FA Cup in the 3rd or 4th round, turn around and sack the manager. By the way, the transfer window closed 2 days ago. And this is what you got now until the end of the season. Good luck. If they're gonna get rid of him, do it quick. Get a replacement in. It's Liverpool Football Club. There will be plenty of people out there who wants this job. It's not a case of it's a pariah club or anything like that. There'll be plenty of managers out there licking their lips at a chance to come in and work at this football club. No doubt in my mind.
Well, so the other person who is under big pressure and has to be under big pressure is Richard Hughes. Very clear, the recruitment is Richard Hughes and Michael Edwards.
Yeah.
So they have picked the players. Slot may have had some input, but ultimately they picked the players, and the manager has to make it work. The manager hasn't made this work so far with these players, but ultimately now you sat with Richard Hughes going, we didn't get the centre back in we needed, and we didn't get the Diaz replacement we needed. And that's not even hindsight. We all said that at the end of the summer window. I feel we're a centre back light. I feel we're a winger light. They were kind of the two we thought we needed. So they've got to take the player. I didn't think we'd get a 6 or something, although I'd like a 6. I didn't think, with all the other business we've done, I didn't think a 6 was coming in. But ultimately, who are they going to pick? He better
I feel
have.
Like we're a
he
little
better
bit
have
revisionist with the Hughes thing. On paper, all of these players can perform. It's the combination of the players that's not performing. And is that on Hughes for kind of picking players that look good on paper but aren't necessarily don't have the chemistry? I don't know. I mean, if you look at Hughes's kind of dossier and what he was able to do at Bournemouth, most of the players gelled right away. So I don't know if it's him shopping in a different market that he's unfamiliar with. Maybe this idea of shopping at the top table is new to him. And maybe that comes with its own set of complications. Again, not excuses. It's just sort of looking at it as a whole, because if you look at Hughes's body of work, it's really impressive. So I don't think that was necessarily a bad appointment. I don't think necessarily that the summer was poor, but it's interesting. You see often, we do it all the time. We talk about these, most expensive signings and who flops and who doesn't. And more often than not, those most expensive signings don't gel. And a lot of times when you put all of these egos in a team, it just doesn't work. We've seen it at Real Madrid. We've seen what happens when you go with the Galactico model, and that falls on Hughes. So in that regard, they made the decision to move away from, the sort of build them up players that they gave Klopp. And then they decided to go this Galactico route. And it's funny. It's sometimes you have to experience the other side of things to realize that, what you were wishing for all this time isn't necessarily what's best for the club. And I feel like, I don't know, I was thinking about this the other day where you have Slot who's known for taking players and making them better. I don't think he's ever really had Galacticos style players that are already kind of there. Like he's never really worked with that profile of player before. And so it's odd that we handed him a different profile. You would think that you'd get more of like Andy Robertson-esque type players that would then get built up by Slot and Poe. They would get molded into exactly what he needs for the club. And that's just not what he's done in the past. So it's a departure from him. And it's a departure with the choices that Slot made, or not Slot made, but that Hughes made in that regard. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys.
Yeah, I know what you mean about if we go through like summer signings, we needed a backup keeper because Kelleher was going to go. Mamardashvili was highly rated.
He was already done.
He was already done. He was done the year before.
We wanted a new left back because we wanted competition for Andy Robertson, and we felt Simicast was going to go. Plenty in the chat now wanted Kirkes. A lot wanted Kirkes. So, he hasn't done well so far at Liverpool, but at the time, no one was really questioning Kirkes. Frimpong, we could all say,
we had question marks around.
Was a 50-50. Some were really happy with him. Some thinking probably would have gone down more like a Gomez style or Timber style, centre back who could play full back. But that was probably one of the debate. Florian Wirtz, everyone was surprised we went for him, but he's one of the most exciting number 10s around. So you thought, okay, it's a different way of doing it. We had to go for two strikers because sadly we lost Jota and we knew Darwin was going to get sold because he clearly.
We didn't need to go for two almost identical profiles in striker, though.
Potentially not, but we went for two strikers and we went for Ekitike, was probably the one we wanted, and I think we pushed for Isak, so we were happy amongst them. We got Leone, who unfortunately did his ACL, so we couldn't judge him on 70 minutes of football. But I think our question always and this is not revisions, was I think the ones we brought in we were generally happy with. Maybe Frimpong was probably the question mark. But we always felt it was a gamble not getting Guehi over the line, and it felt
was
like
a disaster. It wasn't a gamble; it was a disaster.
Yeah. And it felt like I said at the start, so I felt we were a winger light. I didn't think we'd struggle as much creating chances, but I felt we were a winger light.
Yeah, but I never thought for a second it was going to be a right winger.
No, it was a left-sided winger to compete with Gakpo. Is what I was looking for.
Our problem is on the right. Our problem is not really on the left.
Yeah, we're doing.
We did say we wanted someone that could maybe play on both sides.
Yeah,
which technically Chiesa can.
Yeah,
it just the manager don't trust him.
This is the thing, and you know what? And how many times have we said it? Stubbornness has sacked more managers in football than anything else. I can understand the Joe Gomez one. All right, if the guy is having injections to get through training sessions, you're only going to get minutes out of him to see something out, or if there is a car crash, right? That's just the way it is. I didn't know anything about the injections. Then the club kept that really quiet up until this week. Chiesa is the frustrating one because, look, he was petulant towards the end of tonight, but that's pure frustration. But he has got talent.
At least it's passion.
Well, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Misplaced. I don't know.
He does that. He has pace. He has quality, and he will run at players. Endo is a frustrating one because I picked him to start tonight over McAllister because he's got a defensive head in his shoulders. Because he will stand in front. I mean, how many times tonight did Gravenberch get ahead of the ball? And all three midfielders were right up high. It was like a flat 4-3-3, but the three midfielders were so high up. And the two centre-backs were in their final third, trying to pen them in. All it took was one pass and they were out and through. And we were panicking trying to get back.
15 minutes into the first half, we went back to that, seeing that box, Canarsie, Van Dijk, McAllister, Gravenberch. And that's where we got control of the ball.
Exactly.
And that's the box we played against Madrid. That's the box we played against Villa.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he's moved away from that, because that's the one thing that worked. That was the big thing of winning the league last year, was that solid box. So then you can allow fullbacks to go. It allowed you for flair players to take a risk, and if they messed up, McAllister today, I think I said to you, we saw genius and being an idiot in 10 seconds. He literally does a body swerve which beats three players, opens the play up,
Yeah.
And instead of doing a simple pass, he passes it straight to their winger. And you're going like, and then we're countered then 5-on-4. You're going,
Yeah.
some of that you can't blame the manager for, which is players just
that's what. Yeah, look,
being dopes.
Individual errors is one thing. Individual errors are crippling us, right? But at the end of the day, you can't sack the squad.
No, it's always a manager. It's always
got to be the manager who carries the can, and the players can hold their hands up because it's on the players. But it's the manager who's going to carry the can for it. But he's not helping himself by picking 9 out of a starting 11 when he does. Just look, if any of you have the lineup in front of you, what was the bench tonight? Because the scary thing is, what's on the bench tonight is what the club has available. There's no suspensions. And there's nobody coming back from injury anytime in the next week.
The bench was Woodman, Miscure, who I don't know, Robertson, Gomez, Nioni, Endo, and Ngamoa.
Okay.
So 2 keepers. You're basically talking about Robertson, Gomez, and Endo. Gomez has 1 leg. So Robertson and Endo are your 2 senior players that you have left.
And then 2 kids.
And then the other ones are kids.
Then you had Isaac to come on. And
those were the ones that didn't come on. You had Chiesa and Isaac that came on.
So you got Chiesa, Isaac, Endo, Robertson. They're the 4 changes.
That's not good enough.
But that's what. If we sack Slot tomorrow, that's what the new manager has to work with until he comes in until January. Yes, players will come back, but it's how does he address this? Because look, no matter what happens tonight, Champions League, you lost 4-1. It's not a knockout game. You want to hear
the quotes from him, and then you can kind of.
Yeah, please.
I've read one which has infuriated me.
All right, so I'm going to start with the Curtis Jones quotes. I'm just going to read them out as they were.
Hang on, Curtis come out and talk to the press.
So Curtis came out, and he was the one that did the media, which is surprising.
Okay.
So you can, So Curtis comes out. He says, absolutely unacceptable. I don't even have the words. I'm past being angry and sad. I don't have the words. I'm a player and a fan. I haven't experienced a team that has ever played that bad. As of now, we're in the shit and it needs to change. We still have the badge on our chest. Until that badge goes, we're going to fight and we're going to try to get this team back to where it needs to be and show why Liverpool are the best team in the world. That was Curtis.
All right, that's the fan talking.
Okay. Slot comes out. He says, I want to be positive about the reaction of the players after we went 1-0 down because I think that until halftime, we played a good game.
Fair enough.
After halftime, we conceded quite early. We still had a few chances to make it 2-2. Then 10 to 15 minutes before the end, we conceded again. It's hard to take, very hard to take. He continues, after we conceded the first one, we saw the reaction I wanted to see. And it's not easy because we lost, of course, on the weekend. Big loss. The mentality afterwards is what you would hope to see. We kept trying and we were close to making it 2-2. The end result is 4-1, and of course, that's another big loss. He says, I constantly felt in the second half, what's wrong with Hugo Ekitike? It felt like he couldn't move like he did in the first half. That's why our press was a bit off. He just told me that in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the first half, he felt his back too much, and that's why he had to go out. The only way to go is to go through now. We just have to face where we are and fight really hard. It would be nice if we don't get this knock if we concede. The reaction of the players in the first half is what you expect from a Liverpool player, but I've said it many times now, the end result is 4-1. He was asked if he's worried about his job. He says, no, I'm not worried. My focus is on other things than worrying about my own position. I need to do better. He said, at the start of the second half, before they scored their goal, we already struggled more than in the first half. We had more difficulty in being aggressive in the press, and we were in the first half. That had to do with Hugo Ekitike, who straight after halftime felt his back a little bit. That's why the press wasn't as aggressive as it was in the first 45 minutes. That's it.
All right. What you say? I mean, look, he's right in what he says about the reaction after the first goal. We did play better. and we did react to it. We did score.
I mean, clutching at straws, but sure.
No, we did score and we did create chances.
Yeah.
So, and that's fine. I don't mind that. Up to halftime, you get them in 1-1. And after a fucking atrocious start, you've recovered into giving yourself a chance to go and win it. And then you commit the cardinal sin of going behind to an individual, it's an individual error from Kirkes, but you allow a player in the middle of the park to pick a pass with nobody around him, and you can count on your hand the amount of seconds he had to pick his head up and play that ball. He telegraphed it. And
it was so similar to the Forest at the end of the Forest game, like the last couple of goals from the Forest game.
That's what I mean. And I mean, look, the one thing I'll say about the fourth goal, when you're chasing a game in the last couple of minutes, that can happen. You know, that you'll get countered. The worrying thing about that was Virgil looked like he was sucking on diesel at the end of it. He looked absolutely cooked. He couldn't get back. And
I don't think I've ever seen Virgil like we saw him today. The whole game.
I've never seen him done for pace. He was done for a bit of skill on the left wing when he went chasing after. I think it might have been their fullback, but he got done by a bit of skill. But he kept on his feet and he saw it out, went out for a throw-in. But for the fourth goal, he literally just was gasping for air. He just didn't have the legs to get back. And I suppose when you add it all up, you look at the volume of football that he's played. Everyone talks about rotation and everything like that. He doesn't get rotated. He plays week in, week out, game in, game out. Barley Cup, he plays every game. So,
and he's getting exposed more rather than getting protected more.
Exactly.
So as players get older, typically you see, teams kind of build around that and make sure that they aren't, maybe not exerting themselves quite as much so that they can protect them. And we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing the complete and polar opposite, where we're leaving both Konate and Virgil exposed to the point where, even if they weren't as poor as they are at the moment, like what we're doing is making them look poor.
Yeah.
Like the way that we are failing to, and take today, for example, like you have a team that we've talked at nauseum about them being mentally fragile. And I don't want to use that as an excuse anymore, but here we go. We have a team that goes down early to a goal. All right. That's kind of the nature of where we are. Luck is against us. Like it just sucks, but we get back and we get a goal back. And instead of saying, okay, that probably took a lot of mental fortitude from this club in order to do that, instead of holding on to that lead and really securing, like having what you hold, basically, we go and we just, again, completely vacate the midfield, leave Ibu and leave Virgil, who are both clearly struggling, leave them exposed. And then you end up in this scenario where you're asked to go again. And we know that this team doesn't have it in them to go again right now. They barely had it in them to go again the first time. And so, sure, you're chasing a game, and by the nature of that, you're going to be somewhat exposed. But I think at some point, like and no one wants to hear this, but we didn't need to win that game today. We could have drawn and that would have been fine. And you could have held on to, okay, that's the first time that we've come back to gain a point when we've gone down by a goal. And I know that we're Liverpool, we shouldn't have standards this low, but I'm sorry, look around, like that's where we are. That's where the standards are. So if we had held on to a 1-1 draw and said, you know what, we went down early, it was a stupid mistake, but we stayed solid and we held together as a team, at least there's something to build off of. And the problem with what we're dealing with right now is every single time there's nothing that you can hold your hat on, or like hang your hat on rather, as a member of that team. So you talk about losing dressing rooms, you talk about Slot losing the team. Like, I don't understand what Slot's using to say, you know what, that was a stepping stone, we're moving in the right direction. I'm sorry, we're not moving in the right direction. We're moving backwards. I don't think that we were, like, sure, we got one goal back, whoop-de-doo, but we're not building right now. We're not moving, moving through. Like, I don't think we're moving in the direction to move through. Right now, we're moving backwards. We're falling. Like, we're falling and we're continuing to fall. We are in free fall.
Well, Steve LFC put a comment in. Apparently, it's come from Don Hutchinson. said a good bit on TNT about player grief, making you take a step back from all our knee-jerk reactions. Look, we've talked about this after the Forest game. The lads talked about it Sunday night. Myself and Gav talked about it Monday. And you can't ignore it. But the one thing I will say is you're seeing the same mistakes, individual errors happen every week, game in, game out, for a long time. Even in the games that we won, we were giving up really easy chances, really good, high quality chances. Now, I'm sure that the players are feeling the Diogo Jota's loss. 100%, I get that. But it can't, and I don't think it is, an explanation in its.
It's a factor, but it's not the only.
On its own.
We have talked
on its own. It's not,
and I think that we can all see what's going on, but at the same time, I think we've reached a point where we need to talk about the tactics and we need to talk about Slot and we need to focus on that for a little while, because I do think that, it's not the intention when we talk about Jota to let kind of Slot slide, but I think that might be how it comes across. And, you guys are in the chat all the time, and, we do listen to what you say. And some of the things that you were saying is, enough with the grief thing. You can't ignore it. You can't ignore that it's happening. But I do think that we need to address the fact that, this is beyond grief. This is poor management at this point.
Yeah, it is. Look, this is
why his hands are tied, but it's still poor management.
But this is why I said the stubbornness has sacked more managers than anything else, because you have players on the bench that give you a different profile. You have Wataru Endo, who is a defensive midfielder, who will stand in front of a back four and offer protection to them. Is he going to get around the pitch like he would have done 5 years ago? No. But he's intelligent enough to be able to read the game.
Put him next to Gravenberch. Just have him sit.
Have him sit. Put two players either side of him. Put Gravenberch and Szoboszlai either side of him. And just play that. Because you are limited by your options. I would be playing Chiesa. I would definitely be finding a place to put Chiesa into the side.
Either
left
wing.
Or right.
Either wing's fine at the moment.
Yeah, either wing. Take your pick. Toss a coin. And just don't just give him a game. I have yet to see Chiesa start a game. It's been a while. With what you call 7, 8, 9 of your normal regular 11 for maybe 2-3 games on the bench. Give him an hour. Give him 70 minutes playing on the right wing. Take him off. Bring Salah on. Give Salah 20. And then do the same again the next Wednesday and the next Tuesday, and then do the same again the week after. Because when Salah goes, whether it's before the Spurs game or after, we're not going to see him for 2 months, and we are going to we're going to have to play a different way. Or you're going to have to play someone else on the right wing and try to carry. But the frustrating thing with Arne Slot is he's doing the same thing.
I mean, the other option is you have Nioni on the bench, which we've seen young players come in. We saw Bacetić come in and do great things. Try Nioni. Just
he's an attack-minded. He's an attack-minded midfielder. So
he's an attack-minded midfielder, but he can also play as a deep-lying six. And I don't really care which way you play him. Just again, just giving yourself even just the opportunity to see if you've made a mistake, to see if you are in fact too loyal, because you're not seeing these players on the pitch. I understand he looks.
I've seen a few in the chat, but I've seen a few in the chat saying why is it not affecting Diaz, Kwanzaa, Kelleher? People react different ways to grief. But guess what? They're
also not in the club.
They're not in the club every day. They're not going to the training room where his locker's still there. They're not having the just song every.
And it's a collective.
It's a collective.
You're,
in Michael's way, they're able to box themselves away from it. If you know what I mean, you can't shut it out because you're not surrounded by it. They're probably not living with it. If you know what I mean, because everywhere they look at Anfield or at AXA, there will be a reminder of him. So
And you're surrounded by, 25 other players that are also grieving, where when you go away to internationals or if you go away to a different team, you can get lifted by the spirits of the other 24 people around you. And yes, you're the person that's grieving, but it doesn't feel like it's this pervasive cloud. But again, I don't want to get into the grief conversation again.
Why is Ramsey not on the squad? He's not registered for Champions League.
Because
he's 22.
He needed to be registered because of his age and because he's not homegrown.
He's homegrown from next summer. He's homegrown.
Yeah, from next summer he's homegrown.
Yeah, so that's why he's not on the squad, because I would have had to.
They'll be able to put him in after this round if they get through. They will be able to put him in. But
by then you'll have, hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed.
By then, hopefully things change.
You'll have players back. And that's the other side of it, is we are missing 5 players through injury.
I mean, the thing is though, who's on the cusp of returning? Hopefully Wirtz, but there's a lot of mixed.
Yeah. I saw that earlier today that Wirtz is going to be out until March.
If that's true, that's a huge problem.
I'll just put your if it comes out. I know
you gave us some context about how that wasn't necessarily.
It's fucking hilarious. But it just goes to show how a good lie gets around the world in 30 seconds.
Yeah, it does.
It was put out by some account on social media that used James Pearce as a source, but then got James Pearce handle on Twitter wrong.
Probably because he knew James Pearce would have said to him.
Would have ate him over it.
Yeah, but that's bollocks. I never said that, because a lot of journalists are doing that now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Calling out aggregators that are making stuff up.
Exactly, and rightly so, because at the end of the day, you can only take Arne Slot at his word, is that he picked up a knock when he was playing for Germany. It's nothing serious. Frimpong is back training on grass, which with a hamstring injury tells you he's probably 2 weeks away from the bench. Maybe 3 weeks away from starting, which would put him at the start of December, which is kind of where we thought he would be, give it, more or less. And I'd rather get him right than rush him back. Because look, we're not winning the league. All right. We should get out of the Champions League group. All right. We should qualify for the knockout stage. We probably will have to play a playoff. I don't want to rush a player back, especially a player with a hamstring problem, given the fact that Jeremy Frimpong, before he joined Liverpool, never had a fucking injury at Leverkusen. He missed hardly anything, nothing.
And now he's had back-to-back hamstrings.
But that's what happens with hamstrings. Like, the problem with your hamstring is, once you do it, it's just scar tissue. And it just, there's very little that you can do. You manage it. You don't, it doesn't heal per se. You manage it.
Yeah, it's time. And I'd rather give him the time. If it takes an extra couple of weeks, take the extra couple of weeks, especially for a player who's not, and this is going to be tough for the likes of him and the likes of Wirtz, is they're going to come into playing for a club who doesn't have a winter break, who are going to be playing through the cold December, January period.
Which isn't helpful for hamstrings.
I mean, look, he's coming from central Germany. He's not going to be unused to the cold. But at the same time, they are playing in a different league. And we're seeing it with Jarrell Kwanzaa playing brilliantly for Leverkusen last night against Man City. But it's a completely different league. And I said this when you talked about Kai Havertz and the reputation that Kai Havertz came to the Premier League with. The reputation of Timo Werner, Christopher Nkunku, all these players, Florian Wirtz so far, all these players came from the Bundesliga with a savage reputation. And then you go and see what Harry Kane is doing over in the Bundesliga. Ripping it apart.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be
Luis Diaz ripping it apart.
I don't know if Harry Kane would come back to the Premier League and do that.
And Erling Haaland is probably the freak in all of it.
If Erling Haaland was back in Germany, the numbers would be out of this world.
God, he'd be challenging.
They already are out of this world. But
he'd be challenging. I'll tell you now,
would never be broken.
He would be challenging Gerd Muller's record in the Bundesliga for nearly posting 100 goals.
Oh yeah. It would be like a laughing stock, honestly. He already is a freak of nature.
That's the biggest worry for me with Florian Wirtz. Did we over-egg his performance in the Bundesliga, his performances in the Bundesliga because we wanted to see it?
Do you guys think that he was an ego signing? just throwing that out there. Do you think that he was an ego signing, like where Hughes was trying to make a mark and it really didn't matter about if he fit or if he didn't fit? I actually kind of same question with Isaac. Do you think that they were ego signings where it was more about stamping the authority on the window rather than it being a perfect fit?
We've talked about this.
I think we have, and I think
Talk to me next summer.
Okay.
My thought was it was going to be a formation change at some point.
Yeah.
For post Salah.
Yeah, I think.
But it feels like we're kind of stuck between two stools of still using Salah quite a lot. But we kind of brought the guys in to replace him almost.
I wouldn't be a bit surprised if we end up in a situation where at the end of next summer's transfer window, we're looking a lot more like Leverkusen's.
I mean, I've said that to you guys privately, where I think that that's the goal.
And we talked about it on here as well. So, I don't know. I just don't get. Look, the signing of Florian Wirtz in isolation to play in a 10, to come in to the league in a league where it's notorious for not having space.
10s in this league.
It doesn't have 10s. Yeah, the only 10 you could probably turn around and say
James Maddison, maybe.
Yeah, but even he's more playing like an 8. Martin Odegaard is probably the one that you'd look at is kind of like a 10, but even he doesn't. He played when Odegaard was playing for Arsenal last season. He really played more in a 3-man midfield where he was the most advanced of the 3. So not really a 10. You know, it's like the amount of sides who are out and out 4-2-3-1, rigid 4-2-3-1 sides in the Premier League. There aren't many. You know, they're evolutions of it. You know, where one sits, one joins, and one supports the striker. It's.
They're saying Eze plays as an 8.
Eze plays as an 8. Cole Palmer plays from the wing. They're not really 10s.
When we had Coutinho,
the last true 10 that we've seen is
David
Coutinho.
Silva. David Silva for me in the league was an out and out.
Well, I meant for us,
for us, yeah, Coutinho.
Coutinho, but again, we played him left wing or we played him as an 8. We didn't play him as an out and out 10.
I guess the reason I asked the question is, you know, there's this idea that, I mean, at least in American football sometimes, where if you can't get the player that you want, you go out and you buy the best player available. And part of me feels like that I don't know. And maybe it is because we haven't seen the direction of travel and we haven't seen the application of him that makes it feel like it was actually a tactical decision. So it does just kind of float in this, you know, I don't know why we bought him kind of idea. But, you know, sometimes I listen to Hughes speak and he says, you know, it was an opportunity too good to turn down. And it's like, okay, well, is that all it was then? Was it just there's a player on the market that's so good that, you know, and I understand the argument of not wanting him to go. I mean, if he goes to Man City, like, you know, the league is cooked. And you don't want to have him at other teams. And that's not to say that I'm not happy for him to be here, but I look at some of these players and we were talking about but Hughes being culpable for some of these signings. Some of them feel ego driven. And I think that, you know, with hindsight, they're looking even more ego driven and they don't feel like they were bought for the collective. They feel like they, you know, and that doesn't mean that they're not good players.
No, I think we got to see what we do with Florian Wirtz over the next 2 years.
I agree.
It's kind of like Isaac. Isaac signed a 6-year deal. Not a 3-month deal. You know, he signed a 6-year deal. He's going to be at the club for a long time. It will come good for him. It just fucking will. He's proven in the league.
I think that's where the frustration with Slot is at the moment. You're going like between them two and Ekitike, you got nearly £300 million worth of attacking talent. So there must have been a plan of how to use them.
Yeah, but I honestly
at the moment it looks like there isn't.
I never thought he was going to play 2. I never saw a lineup in my head where Ekitike and Isaac played at the same time. I always felt that it would be one or the other. The both of them were going to be number 9s, and the two of them were going to fight it out between each other. Never in a million years. Oh yeah, listen. When it comes to I've been with my partner now, my missus, for 30 years, right? And in 30 years, I learned this really valuable lesson. You don't fuck with the missus at Christmas time. If she wants to put her tree up in October, you nod like the Churchill dog and you say, yes, ma'am, yes, miss, you can do whatever you like because Christmas is your thing. And I just shut up and nod. And I hate the idea of it. And then when it's up, I fucking love it. I absolutely love it. And that's what you guys can see. What you guys can see is the amount of stuff that we've collected over the years. And I say, I got a mantle up there, right, with a load of little ornaments. And there are a load of little ornaments from when we were absolutely stone broke. We didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. And it was stuff that the kids bought with their pocket money. And that stuff we've had for some of it for nearly 15 years. And that's the stuff that takes pride of place. And every Christmas we get the lot out of the attic and we put it up, usually put it up second week of November. And it'll stay up until the 5th of January. And I love it. And yeah, I could definitely light the Arc de Triomphe with that tree. No doubt in my mind. 100. Luis Enrique is looking out his window and closing the curtains. That's too bright for me, mate. I know. I loves it, and it's like, yeah, Santa's grotto is, yeah, it is. And the crazy thing is, my youngest is 21, and it doesn't matter. Don't care. Christmas is Christmas. Don't care how old the kids are. It's just like time of year. Love it. Not apologize for my Christmas tree. Fuck off.
Something needs to be cheerful in our lives, to be completely honest. There was a comment in there from one of our chat members that was saying, I don't like this revisionism. And I do you think that this is revisionism, our chat?
I think some of it is. I think some of it is.
Has to be.
And look, when things go bad,
some of it
you'll always go.
Trying to find answers where there are none.
It's trying to find extra blame or seeing it first.
Reasons.
Yeah.
We're three people. We watch every game. Like all of you guys. Like everyone in the chat, everyone who's watching this, we watch every single game. Some of us are really lucky to be able to go to games. All right. Most of us aren't. All right. Most of us are watching on from afar. And we're sat watching a side who dominated the league last year. Who this time last year, I was telling people that it is done. It's over. We've won it. We're not getting caught. To a side who cannot buy a win for love nor money. And it's not because of quality of football player. It's something else. And I think you saw the difference in the two sides tonight. I'll be a bit serious now. You saw the difference in the two sides tonight. Eindhoven are a good side, okay? They've dominated the Dutch league now for a good few years. They've got a good manager. They're well drilled. They've got some really good players, not worldies or anything like that, but good players. But they're supremely confident. And they pick, like I said, that's the 6th time that starting 11 has played together on the bounce, winning. They pumped Napoli 6-2. All right. And the game they lost, the only game they lost this season was against Union Saint-Gilloise. They lost, it was the first round of the Champions League. They lost 3-1, and they really should have won 4 or 5. They had enough chances to win that game 4 or 5. So these are a really supremely confident outfit. And we're the polar opposite. We have absolutely no confidence or trust in any of the players that are going out on that pitch to be able to play for 95 minutes. And you can come up with any excuse you want for it. The fact of the matter is the manager is not getting the best out of the players that he has at his disposal. And it's been going on for way too long. You take the Villa and Madrid results out of this. This is relegation form. This is forget about Champions League, forget about qualifying for Europe. This is relegation form. And it looks like a side who are just fresh out of ideas, so low and so deflated with a lack of confidence that I've never seen. And the slightest hint of adversity, it's finger pointing, it's blaming each other, it's bombing each other out, take your pick. It's something's not working, and ultimately you have to boil the manager carries the can because he's not getting the most out of the players that that we need him to get. And Roshi puts a super chat in and cheers, mate. Thanks for that. Slot sold his style as a continuation of Klopp, but he's obsessed with possession, not attack or high energy. The signs were there in February. So he wants Slot out. Okay.
Didn't he kind of sell his style as half Pep, half Klopp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he never really sold his style as heavy metal football at
No.
all.
High press.
I think what happened is it was easier to transition last year with a little bit more heavy metal football. So maybe it was a little bit less of a Slot identity and more of a continuation of Klopp. But he's never really promised that. I think the idea was always, methodical control and then sort of going up a gear or two to kind of get the 1-2 punch.
I mean, look,
think that we've just lost that ability to go up that gear.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to what he's saying is the signs were there in February.
There were.
Mate, we won the fucking.
We
won the league. Yeah, I know, but we won the league at a canter, and then the last few games of the season.
I think that you have to write those off, but I think if you look back
relaxed.
kind of in isolation at like Newcastle, PSG, a couple of those games that did matter. They weren't write-off games.
No, we weren't.
You did see stuff, and I mean, you could even go back. I believe it was to the PSG game last year. That was that dead rubber game that we lost with the kids. If you go back, the record that we have, I think it's something like played 41 and we won about half of them.
Yeah.
The record actually going back is not awesome. It's not awesome.
It was an unbelievable start to the season, but the other thing
go on, sorry, Kev.
Sorry, I was saying the other thing that he did do when he came in, he definitely changed the style, and it was glaringly obvious that we were playing a different type of football. We were playing a possession type of football, and we were looking to attack sides in different ways. And for the first third of last season, we absolutely blew sides away in a massive way. It was where we are now. You're looking at the other 2/3. Sides figured out what we were trying to do, and we haven't evolved from that. Someone said they're questioning whether it's relegation form or not. Trust your eyes. We got 5 wins from 5 at the start of the season, where we did our very level best to throw a couple of them away.
We've had one league win since.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, if you don't think that where we are at the minute is anywhere near what's needed or required just to be a side challenging to get into European football, let alone anything more than that, Arne Slot has... and this is the thing, I don't think he's capable of changing anything more than what he's tried in the last 4 or 5 games.
I just don't think he's getting reactions now, is he? We can see that. Yeah, I think the other thing about last season, I think we said it around the PSG Newcastle game, was the lack of rotation we felt hit him in the arse. And I think that's why there was a bit more of a tail off as well towards the end of the season. Plus, also, like you said, the league was pretty much secure. This season, it's gone from one extreme to the other, hasn't it? Ashley's pointed out a few times, as of yourself, Kev, we've gone from barely rotating to having no settled side to now, I don't think he knows a settled side. It's kind of gone from one extreme to the other. So he's sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't think he really knows where to stick or twist at the moment.
I think he's probably I think he's got 2 legitimate changes that he can make, excluding Ekatike and Isak. I think Wataru Endo should be coming into this side, offer a bit of stability in the middle of the park. Just see what happens, get a reaction. Chiesa has to come into that front foot, into that a wing option, some way, shape, or form. Even if you play him as a second striker, play a 4-4-1, 4-4-1-1, 4-4-2, whatever way you want to try it, or whatever way you want to do it. He's got to try and do something. He's got to try and do something different, because what he's trying for large parts of this season, I'd say all of this season, hasn't worked, because we haven't looked fluid. We haven't looked like we're capable of scoring the amount of goals that we need to score to win games, because
I think that's the difference. I think the first 5 games we did look like you always felt those goals in us, which is why we got late winners. But you always felt those goals. Since then, since we lost to Palace, you kept going like, there's just no fluidity in the attack, which is putting more pressure on the defence, which is scared to death. It's absolutely petrified of anything. What's that now?
Serious question.
10 set piece goals now.
How long does Slot have?
I keep saying that Liverpool are very slow to change managers, and look, history tells you that they're very slow to press the button. We haven't had to deal with this under Jurgen Klopp. We never had to deal with this question, and it's been a long time since any of us as fans have had to deal with this problem. Where we can see it, we know what needs to happen. I think everyone, hand on heart, looks at what's going on. Can't see an end to it. Can't see a way out of this, swamp that we're in at the minute, and we're drowning in it. And for me, it's a matter of time. I think a poor, not just a poor result, but I think a poor result or a poor performance against West Ham will probably seal it.
Chris, do you agree?
I think it's that close.
If I'm honest, I think the Forest one was. I think these last two results, I think I've done it, because in both of those games, at 2-1 to PSV, never fancied us to get back into it. I know we had chances as Kev, but I never believed they were coming. Forest at 1-0, never believed we were getting back into it.
No.
I think when you get to that apathy level, and the fact you're seeing home fans walk out, and that's now 3 games in a row now we've conceded more than 3 goals, and we don't look like scoring. It just feels like, you could just sense in the interviews, there's a lot of tension going on there. I will be surprised if he's there much longer. And I think I said to you guys, it's just really sad. I think it's
Vino's hit the nail on the head. It is fucking sad, And I like him, and I do like him, and I think he is a good coach. But at the end of the day, we all talk about the players' grief and everything like that. He has to deal with that as well. He had the player for a year, and he's been the one who we've looked to manage this and to manage everything that's going on in the club. And I'm not giving him an easy out. Sometimes you need to help. The club needs to help itself by putting a fresh voice in the room. Not to draw a line under anything, but so players hear a different voice. Most managers do that by hiring new assistant managers every few years. Klopp did it. Ferguson was notorious for it. Mourinho did it. Pep does it. It's kind of common, especially in managers that are at clubs for a long time. Now, Arne Slot, because of our success last season, Johnny Heitinga went to Ajax and it didn't work out for him. We bring in Van Bronckhorst, who is a manager, who has been a manager, I don't say a top coach, but a coach at a good level, to come in as a number 2. And whatever the players are hearing, I think it's falling on deaf ears. And I don't think the players are in any way, I don't think any of them fear for their positions, for one, because they look at the bench and they look at what's available to the manager and they say, look, you're going to be...
If Konate can keep playing the way he's playing and he's not getting substituted,
exactly.
None of them fear for their positions.
You're going to be picking me no matter what. But at the same time, it's not a case of I don't think they don't care. I just don't think there's no fear. I don't think they fear anything that the manager has to say, and they're just not responding to anything that he's trying to do. Plus, I don't think he's trying to do anything different.
Also, I suppose, cynically, if you're going to bring in a new manager, this run up to Christmas is probably a nicer run to give a new manager. And clubs do look at that. Clubs will look at that. We've seen that a few times with certain managers that we know are going, and they've gone they sort of wait till a certain run's out of the way, and they go, right, now bring him in, because that's actually the right one to bring him in for.
I don't know if we're that short-sighted. I feel like that's the problem. Where for 9 out of 10 clubs in the Premier League, they're okay with a temporary solution or a 1-year coach or something. And I just don't think that's the way that we work. And that's what makes this so hard, where it's who's the coach you want for the next 3 years?
Surely, well, we don't know. You have to believe the people above Slot. Look, they've got eyes. They can see how bad this run's been. I can't believe in the November international they haven't been putting feelers out for certain
I mean, in September they were talking about extending Slot's contract.
Well, the thing is,
they're fortunate that they didn't.
He signed a 3-year deal. Most managers, when they come to a club, it's a 3-year deal, and they'll have breaks in it where if you don't achieve certain things. But usually, at the end of the day, given the fact that he won the league last year, it's unsurprising that they would have been talking to him about it. And I'd imagine they have been talking to him about it. But at the end of the day, you have to fucking look at, and it's not a case that Michael Edwards and any of the other hierarchy at the club are looking just at results. They hear what's going on in the club. They know what's going on in the dressing room. They know what's going on behind the closed doors more than anyone else, because they talk to Arne Slot every day. So they know what's going on, and they can see. They know they must see what we all see, because we're seeing it on the pitch. It's the same. We're conceding the same goal over and over and over and over, and it doesn't look like he has any answers to correct it. He's unwilling to be flexible in how he sets up in games. He had an idea at the start of the season to play away, and he steered away from it the first bump in the road. And now he's trying to fight fires. I mean, look, we could talk about it till the cows come home.
For hours,
we're starting to go around in circles a bit now. Ultimately, we lost 4-1 at home after losing 3-0 at the weekend, and it's fucking shite. Sorry, guys.
And we've got Nuno next.
Oh, yippee ki!
Who has our number?
Yeah.
Which is
who doesn't? Who doesn't have our number at the moment? That's a big list. Right, on that happy note, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us go through that absolute disaster.
Misery loves company.
Please subscribe. Please go on Patreon. The QR code's there on the screen for you. We do shows behind the paywall. We even rewatch games like this with the highlights. Good luck with that one, Kev.
Don't sell that.
No,
I think that this might be a game
but we also do
on that, to be honest.
We also do Ref Watch, which is where Ash goes through some of the big.
What did you guys think about the Ekitike penalty claim?
Oh, I thought it was a pen.
Just out of curiosity.
I thought it was outside the box.
I thought it was just in the pen, but
if it's there's contact there.
Inside the box. I need to see it again. I don't know if anyone in the chat saw that. I
haven't seen the replay. My initial gut reaction was it was inside, but
I thought that was a penalty, depending on, like you said, where it was.
The other one that had a shout was Chiesa late on, and there was contact, but he initiated the contact.
Yeah,
it was just an accidental collision.
Yeah, but I suppose the argument is that contact any different to the one Van Dijk gave away against Brentford? Probably not. But do you know what? It falls into the worlds of I've seen them given, I've also seen them not given.
Yeah, but I don't want to see that one given. And in fairness, Virgil's one was a fucking stonewaller.
Oh my god, yeah. But that's one that I'll look at in Ref Watch.
Yeah,
that Ekitike one, because I do think that's worthwhile.
We also do fun stuff as well. Quizzes.
Yeah.
We do
not talk about Liverpool right now.
We do quizzes. We do drafts, and we also do the fast forward, which is where we pick a subject and describe them in forwards or less. Which
I really want to do a top 10 Christmas song list. I really want to do a top 10 Christmas.
I actually want to do what
songs.
I actually want to do what we did last time with Ash, which was when we watched all the goals from the '98 World Cup, of which Ash wasn't around for, and then Ash called it quite early. He goes, is it just like the keepers are shit? We went, no. And then the next 5 goals, we went, actually, the keepers are shit.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I'll tell you what.
It was great fun, though.
If you really want to cheer yourselves up, just go and find a YouTube video of Ronaldinho and just press play, sit back, and that's how football should be played. Because those players don't exist in the game anymore. So just go and sit down and chill. And before you go to bed tonight, have a bit of a Ronaldinho watch. And you'll go to bed with a smile on your face, I promise.
Right.
That's enough of that.
On that happy note, let's go on. Let's go on, Kev. You can go. Yeah. You can go and work out what's going to happen next. Subscribe, keep an eye on us. We'll do a preview show on Friday to talk about West Ham away.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Yay! I'll come back. Don't forget to hit like, guys. See you later.
Bye. Bye.